Hey everyone, welcome back to Pretending with Dice. As always, I'm your host and game master, AJ. Welcome to the third chapter of our Things from the Flood storyline. We hope you're all enjoying it so far. If you haven't heard the previous two chapters, they're kind of a little bit sort of necessary for figuring out what's going on in this one, so I'd recommend heading back and listening, starting with episode 58. Either way though, we're having loads of fun playing the game, and we hope you're all having as much fun listening. We've got a pretty big announcement for you this week, and that's that on Saturday the 30th of November, we're going to be returning to Dragonmeet for our third year there as part of the podcast zone. We're super happy to be taking part once again, and we can't wait to meet those of you who are heading to the con. We had loads of fun the past 2 years, and it's shaping up to be a great third year. At the time of me recording this, there's been a few other podcasts announced. Power Word Roll, Flintlocks and Fireballs, and also our friends from Penance RPG. More details to come as soon as we can share them. But head on over to dragonmeet.co.uk for more info on the con. We look forward to seeing you all there. Alright then, so let's recap what happened last time. So, after seemingly half the town failed to show up for work and school, our group of teens, that's Sora, Hazel and Antony, paid a visit to their friend Kev's house. He had not been at school, and they were worried that something strange was afoot. Their fears were confirmed when they discovered Kev's father in a strange, inert state in the kitchen, his face streaked with what seemed to be the remains of some unidentified black liquid, which had leaked from his ears, eyes, mouth and nose onto the plate of food in front of him. While Hazel phoned for an ambulance, Antony and Sora ventured upstairs to find Kev himself in a similar state, and fearing that they were dead, the trio waited outside for the ambulance to arrive, consoling themselves. Upon the ambulance's arrival, however, both Kev and his father showed no signs of this black liquid, and were in no way sort of anywhere near the state that they were when the trio had found them, with Kev's father extremely angry at what he saw as trespassing in his house. Sora and Hazel managed to convince him that the whole thing had been a prank, and very confused, the three left, wondering what on earth was going on. This confusion was not helped the following day when, at school, all of those who were missing had no knowledge of the missing time, instead insisting that they were in fact in attendance, and that the trio must be mistaken. Antony was even briefly convinced by Kev that the girls were playing a prank on him with the whole thing, while Hazel wanted to investigate more, and Sora thought that they should all just pretend that nothing had happened. And finally, at home, Hazel was awoken in the middle of the night by the apparition in her sister's room of a strange pattern of blood on the ceiling, and saw what she thought was some of the black liquid boiling away on the windowsill. That's pretty much where we left off last time, so let's get into today's episode. Enjoy. Alright, so I think what we'll do, we'll start with going straight back in with Hazel and her currently sleeping sister, Laurel. So we left off with you standing kind of in the doorway of your sister's bedroom. Mm-hmm. Sister seems to be, from what you can see, sleeping normally, peacefully. And on the windowsill, the last of it, you can just see kind of almost sort of like boiling off into nothingness, sort of visible in the moonlight, is a little bit of the black goo that you saw the previous day in Kev's house, coming from the face of his father. Just as you look up onto the ceiling, the kind of pattern of sort of almost looks like magnetic field lines kind of etched in blood above the bed just fades away into the ceiling, much in the same way that you'd seen yourself in your own room the previous day.
Hazel's going to glance over and check that Laurel is still asleep.
Okay.
And if she's going to go back to her room
All right, okay. Are you sort of going, checking your sister's side, or are you just sort of staying where you're at and sort of just looking kind of thing?
I'm going up on my tiptoes to see if I can get a better look at her face.
Okay, but not entering the room in any way, really?
No, staying at the doorway.
Okay, it's a little dark in here, but she does appear to be sleeping kind of normally, sort of, yeah. If you hadn't seen the other stuff, you just assume, it just looks like it normally would.
I'll go back to bed because all of the stuff is faded. So she's not going to believe me if I wake her up anyway.
Okay, all right. So yeah, sort of quietly, I guess just sort of, you just kind of pulling the door to rather than fully closing it, trying to stay as quiet as possible, I take it.
Yeah, basically trying to sneak back. Okay,
can I get a, what kind of check did we say sneaking was? I think it's a specific skill, isn't it?
It's body.
Yeah, body sneak, isn't it? I think is an actual thing. Can I get a body sneak check from you? Oh, you got 2 6s. Okay, yeah, no, so you have no problem with that. You're very familiar with all the different sort of creaky floorboards and such in this house, having lived here for as long as you have, and you're able to just kind of make your way back to your room without waking your sister or your mum, although there's no sign of your mum sort of coming to the coming to the scene or anything, but you're able to quite silently make your way back to your room and sort of close your own door without a noise. Are you going back to bed, or are you what are you thinking?
I'm going to take a good look around my room first.
Okay.
Just to make sure that nothing else has turned up.
Not a bad idea.
So that would be an investigate? Yeah,
if I could get a mind investigate check from you, that'd be great.
Oh,
okay, no 6s. So, nothing seems out of place in your room. As you'd kind of previously looked fairly hard around your room when you'd first woken up with the ominous feeling. And nothing new has appeared since then.
That's good. Hazel's going to go back to bed, and I don't think she's going to sleep.
Okay.
But she's going to curl up and try to not worry too much.
Okay. All right. So a pretty restless night then. I've got this quite strong mental image of you sort of in bed, but eyes open, just staring at the ceiling, almost clutching a torch or something as a weapon, just in case.
Sort of thing.
But obviously I'll leave that up to you. Okay. All right. So the morning comes eventually. It seems like a long, it seems like a long night for you, Hazel, because it wasn't really that late when all this happened. We could maybe, would you say maybe you accidentally caught, you did sort of doze off a little bit, I think, maybe in the middle of the night, but you just sort of caught yourself a little bit. Mm-hmm. But definitely not a proper night's sleep for you.
Yeah, I'm going to be really quite tired. Yeah.
So morning rolls around for everybody, and some awoken or already awake earlier than others. Looks to be another nice day. It's not a school day though, so I feel like this Saturday is going to be a little bit more kind of. I'm going to leave it a little bit in each of your hands what you do sort of during the day, who you want to meet up with, who you want to talk to, what you've got going on as your sort of general kind of Saturday routine and that. So we've kind of already established Hazel's awake, but would you say maybe not that's not your normal? Normally you're not normally sitting up all night on a Friday night.
No. At this time on a Saturday morning, I would usually still be fast asleep. So this all feels quite strange and unsettling. Yeah.
In fact, you actually you do notice your room starting to get lighter as the sun comes up, and before you know it, it's the morning has arrived. An hour or so after the sun comes up, you do hear your sister's door opening and go downstairs, and you think you can just about pick out the sounds of the television going on in the lounge. It's a bit further away from your room than next door. So you think that's what she's doing. You look over at the clock, and it's about 7 o'clock.
Oh, that's far too early on a Saturday.
It's not too early for live and kicking though.
True. And it is distraction, at least.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to... Oh, hang on, wait. I'm going to have to Google who was on Live and Kicking. Jesus. I know it was on then because I used to watch it. But
Yeah.
Zoe Ball and Andy Peters.
That's it, yeah.
Ah.
Didn't even need to Google it.
Memory.
Right there. Okay, well, that's a, would you say Sora is also up watching Live and Kicking?
Oh yeah, you know she is. sitting in her pajamas,
Saturday morning.
eating.
It's where the party's at. Okay. Well, that's a good... Okay, well, we'll say that. Is Hazel... Are you going to... Well, what are you doing? Are you going down joining your sister, or should we cut over to someone else?
I'll go down and join Laurel, but I'll probably be fairly quiet and just kind of try and get a read on how she seems. So can cut to Sora.
Okay. So Sora, at this the same moment, you've woken early. It's a nice day, but what's going on outside does not concern you because it's TV time. Oh god, this is what happens. I mention something like Live and Kicking, and then my brain just goes like, that was on. I can't remember anything that they did on it or anything.
Pretty sure they just because I don't want to get confused with SMTV Live, but I think it was really just like that, but like more serious.
Yeah.
And like more music based, was it?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, okay. So here's who it was then in the time that we're doing it. It was Andy Peters, Emma Forbes, and John Barrowman.
Okay.
I don't remember John Barrowman. Yeah, you know.
What?
Yeah, I don't remember him being on it, but apparently, according to this Wikipedia entry,
Hey, the guy who has the weird American accent. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
in the sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
Despite being from Glasgow,
yeah,
or close
Fully.
enough.
Yeah.
fully put on American accent there.
Live and Kicking had a bunch of shows in it. Like
Yeah,
they had
that's what I'm
X-Men at one point,
trying to look
and
up.
I think what other
I know it had
cartoons.
Rugrats.
Mhm.
I can't remember. I used to get it, I'm getting it like too confused. I think I was like so young when it was on.
Mhm.
Okay, let's figure out a way. Okay, so across town, Sora is also watching Live and Kicking, enjoying the comedy stylings of Andy Peters and Emma Forbes and John Barrowman, apparently. You know, you've been thinking a little, you know, for a little while that maybe you're getting a bit old for the show, but it's just so damn good, and this is like a guilty pleasure. Do you think for Sora?
Yeah, Sora is like, I can't remember how old I am. Are we 15?
I think maybe 15 or 16. I think you said. Yeah.
But she's still a kid at heart and likes watching cartoons. And it's better than the alternative of the other 3 or 4 channels.
It's true. At this point, I don't think there was much going on ITV, and definitely not BBC Two.
No, and basically, like, her mum is probably gonna like nagged her about going out with her somewhere that day, but Sora, as usual, was just gonna stay at home by herself.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's roughly 7 o'clock in the morning. You're up before your mum, but like not by a lot, and yeah. So you're sort of tucking into your own kind of bowl of cereal when your mum sort of comes through in a long sort of dressing gown, and she's sort of standing in the doorway, you know, sort of a little bit behind you, and then she says, "You coming with me to the garden centre still this morning?"
No, Mum. Like, look from the telly.
It's just you said you were going to help me pick out some flowers for the front garden. I thought we had it planned.
I just stay at home today.
Well, if you want, okay. I'll
Mum. Sora sits up a bit. There's like a school disco later, so I'm not going to be coming home. It's at the leisure centre.
Well, what time is that?
What time is that?
It is like
7?
Yeah, like 7.
7. And like Sora's just like really flatly, because she just like, her and her mum just don't talk barely. Like, she just gives her the minimal information.
Is this the first that she's told her mum of it, do you think? Like, even though it's been kind of, it was announced sort of weeks ago that, yeah, there's a roller disco on this Saturday, you know, she's waiting till the day of to tell her mum.
Yeah, like, despite Sora's cheery and outgoing nature, she's cold to her mum.
She's kind of a bit of a goth at heart, would you say, as well?
she just hates her mum. It kind of like just wants minimal contact with her, and her mum doesn't know how to fix it, so it's just stuck at a stone wall.
Yeah. Okay, so your mum just says, well, okay, well, if you're going to be too late, please give me a ring, but I'll see you later on then. And she sort of disappears back into her bedroom, and maybe 20 minutes later or so, coming up for 8 o'clock in the morning now, she comes back out like fully kind of dressed with the coat on and everything. Says, well, I'm going to walk to the garden centre. I'll see you if you're going to be in. I'll be probably home just after lunch.
Yeah, I'll probably be out, but okay, bye.
Bye. Just leaves. That's super sad. Super depressing.
Sorry. Sora feels like relieved because like she's finally alone right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then Rugrats comes on.
Just to lighten the mood.
Yeah. So, okay, what about Antony then? What's Antony's Saturday morning deal?
Okay, I think Antony's up early. Probably, I'm trying to think whether his paper round is 5 or 6 days. Let's be nice to him and say it's 5. So he's got Saturday morning. He gets up early, still like 6:30, has breakfast, and it will be football practice that he's out for, probably by like leaving the house 7:30, getting there for 8, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever that is up to you, or do you want me to choose? Or?
Well, there's a couple of places. I mean, you could be sort of cycling to the school like fields to sort of do it there, you know, because there's goals and things set up. Or you could be going to there is a sort of small football pitch by your dad's leisure centre. That really depends on Antony's feeling of the matter of like, do I want to be sort of under the nose of dad while I'm practicing, or did you want to be going off and just like, okay, I just need some time to myself? It's kind of up to you, really.
I'm thinking more that this is actual, like this is an organised football practice thing.
Oh, okay, right.
Making it for the team would make sense because that was a thing. I didn't do it, but I vaguely remember my brother being on the football team and going for like practice on Saturdays.
The school team,
a
school team, or just outside team?
Well, I think in this instance, the school.
Okay, all right.
Just to tie characters together and whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's probably being held at the school then. You arrive, you know, you're there on time. You're definitely up for football. It's quite early still. You're up and about and at school for 8 o'clock. There's a lot of yawning fellow players kind of assembling. Mr. Brewster is there, also looking a little bit tired, but like not like unnaturally tired, like you didn't get a good night's sleep. It's just that it's a regular kind of like, oh, this is a bit early in the morning sort of thing. But he's his usual sort of encouraging self, sort of like, all right, boys, come on, right, huddle up. So you did well last week at the game. So today we're going to be running some drills. I want to see you giving 11 out of 10 against these the Summerby First next week. I know you can do it. I know they've got a couple of talented players, but we've got a fair share of our own, haven't we? And he kind of gives you a little bit of a wink, Antony, at this.
Give him a little nod back.
Yeah. Because okay, everybody line up. I want to see some good drill work this morning.
Looking around, is Kev there for practice?
Kev is there. Yeah, him on sideline stretching.
When we huddled up, then Antony's kind of chosen to go next to Kev for obvious reasons to raise his mate. And after saying that they're going to set up drills, as they're kind of getting prepped for this and stretching and what have you, Antony kind of leans over to Kev and says, like, "You're right, mate. Like, I'm sorry about the other day. Like, I really hope there wasn't anything funny with your dad afterwards or anything. Like, it really was like the girl's idea to like break in and what have you. I don't know what the hell was going on."
No, I think he calmed down a bit. Still, I mean, well, we talked about this yesterday, but he, it was all a bit weird, mate.
Well, yeah. I mean, I really thought that I saw like your dad. Like, he looked like he was in trouble. There was all this disgusting stuff on his plate and stuff. But like, I'm starting to wonder if like
my mum's cooking's not that bad.
and kind of, as I just did, Antony kind of breaks and like laughs mid-sentence, and at that moment, like they're stretching and what have you is got to stop because, like.
All right, so we'll just say then. So, as it's a couple of hours of practice. You're running through various things and that. Do you want to be talking to Mr. Brewster at any point during this, or are you just kind of going through the, trying your best?
Doing the practice, trying as hard as possible, really trying to impress, obviously, because he gave Brewster the nod, so he's got to live up to that nod. He earned it.
You don't want to let yourself down. Okay, can I get a body move check then, just to sort of see how you get on?
Okay. Alright.
Keep forgetting to tell you guys the difficulty. I think this isn't going to be a too difficult roll for you, so you only need one success.
Okay.
Which you did not get. Okay. For an 8d6. Not Antony's morning. Maybe feeling a little bit... feeling the stress, shall we say, maybe? A little bit, feeling a bit unfocused over the last couple of days of events, and Mr. Brewster does pick up on this. He kind of he kind of pulls you to one side a little bit, so he's not kind of embarrassing you in front of everyone else, because he's not that kind of PE teacher. I know we've all had them, but he sort of says, "Antony, you're all right. You don't seem to be you seem to be yourself this morning."
Oh, I'm just a bit worn out, sir. I've been sleeping really badly for the last couple of days, and I was hanging out with my friends Hazel and Sora.
Oh, yeah, I know them.
Yeah, we were hanging out, and like I thought I saw some really weird stuff. Like, I mean, do you remember the other day when like all the people didn't turn up to school?
Yeah, it was like a ghost town. It's odd. They made me stay late and watch you all do your study.
Yeah, well, we all went to Kev's house because he didn't turn up, and we wanted to find out like what was going on. And when we went there, we saw his dad, and he had all this weird stuff. Like, I mean, in fairness, like, and he kind of hesitates saying this and shifts and looks really awkward and guilty. Like, well, we kind of like broke into the back of the house to like find out what was happening.
You broke in?
Well, like, the door was open, like, we just kind of, like, jumped over the fence, because, I mean, it's my mate Kev's house, like, he knows me and everything, like, you know Kev?
What, Kev, that over there, Kev?
Yeah. And so, yeah, like, we jumped over his fence and went through the back door, and I swear his dad, look, he looked really messed up, and, like, I went upstairs, and Kev was all messed up, and, like, but then when we called an ambulance and stuff, because, like, they looked really ill, the ambulance turned up, and I'm, like... They were just well weirded out. Like, everybody was fine. Like, we went back in the house, and like Kev's dad was fine, and he was furious.
Well, you see, he kind of looks over at Kev, who's sort of, doing sort of what they call keepy uppies with the ball. As well, he seems all right today. Seemed all right yesterday at the bleep test.
Well, here's the really weird thing, though, sir. Like, he showed me his diary for the day when he was off, and like. There was like stuff in it. Like it was showing that he was in school, and he was telling me that he was here.
Yeah, that is odd. Well, I'm with you. I know he wasn't here.
So yeah, like that's like it's been playing on my mind really bad. Like, I just can't sleep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all I can say is I agree that is a little bit odd, but just keep your head in, try and keep your head on your shoulders. There's often a perfectly innocent explanation for these things.
Antony's looking more and more kind of like desperate and forlorn, as like this is not the sage advice that he was hoping for.
Okay.
Like, it never is. Why did you tell him?
It's like the adult is failing me. What's happening? You're supposed to know things.
He's terrible.
Well, tell you what. I'll let you know. There is often a perfectly reasonable explanation for these things, but I know one or two teachers who weren't in yesterday either. I'll see. If you really think something odd's going on, I'll ask a couple of questions. But I think you just got to keep your eye on the ball, Antony. Literally in this case, and just try not to get worried. Have a good night's sleep tonight. Don't get too knackered at this roller disco or whatever's going on. I take it you're going to that. Heard all about it.
Oh yeah. I talked to my dad about it, and he seemed to be all right. like with me going, because I've been working really hard, like you said, eyes always on the ball, and Antony kind of pulls himself together a little bit, and kind of looks in that way that like a kid does, where it's like, I want to get out of here. I'm kind of ready to like go and kick the ball with my friends a little bit more, maybe.
Okay, all right. You see, he's kind of got the he's no stranger to sort of picking up on sort of when kids don't want to talk to him anymore. So he's like, all right, well, back to it then.
Thanks, sir. Like, I'll talk to you on Monday, like when we get back to school.
Right, yeah. And like I say, try not to let things bother you.
And Antony runs off, kind of like turning around, waving, and then turning to his friends who are playing with the ball and joining them for a little bit more kickabout before going home.
Okay, sorry. I was only laughing at that because I just the mental image of him. The teacher is like supervising the practice. He's talking to you, and then you turn around. You're going back to your friends. You turn around and wave at him weirdly as you're running off. It's
oh yeah, Antony's a bit of a wiener.
Yeah. All right, so as I say, your practice lasts a couple of hours. I'm going to kind of leave it up to each of you then, really what you want to be doing in the day. I've got a couple of things I want to sort of kick in here and there, but really sort of what each of you is doing and how you want to meet up and that, I'm going to kind of leave in your hands, really.
Well, I know what Antony would do. He goes home from school, goes home from school and then does his homework, gets that done immediately that afternoon on Saturday. So
Okay.
He's probably back from practice by about 11 o'clock, 11:30, grabs a bite to eat again, and then sits down to do homework.
I was going to say that I think you said on the previous one that you'd actually done your homework the previous evening.
Right. Yes, because that was part of the excuse for the roller disco.
Yeah.
You're right.
Have we talked about the fact that he's allowed to go, or did we leave it with Antony's mum and dad getting it on?
I don't know if he did tell you guys that he could go.
No, he hasn't told
That's
us.
a good
yet.
point.
No.
I should do that then. Okay, so with the mention of the roller disco in mind from Mr. Brewster, Kev heads home after practice and picks up the phone and calls Sora, or Sora's house, hoping to get through.
Okay, so I'd say by this point you had a couple of hours of practice, so it's now by the time you're home, it's pushing 10:30. But yeah, Sora, your mum has not yet returned from her trip to the garden centre, so you still have the house to yourself.
Hello, she reaches over lazily, still watching telly.
Hello, is that Sora?
Yeah, is that you, Antony?
Yeah. Oh, I've got good news, Sora. I spoke to my dad, and I could go to the roller disco tonight. So I was thinking maybe like we could meet up beforehand or something like.
You and me?
Yeah. And there's just the hanging silence of slight awkwardness in the air.
Sora's like grinning with amazement. What, you want to hold hands with me at the school disco, do you? And she's like trolling.
Well, maybe.
Well, that sounds pretty nice. So, did you have football this morning?
Antony's thrown, gives another second of like no answer. Yeah. I'm just back from football actually. Like, yeah, I was playing with Kev and the rest of the team. Just practice.
Oh, Kev, he's such an idiot. Have you seen his skateboard tricks?
Well, yeah. I mean, I taught him a few of those.
Well, I wasn't impressed anyway.
Oh. But yeah, the roller disco tonight, like, I was thinking maybe we could meet up down the road from the leisure centre, like.
Yeah, that sounds nice, Antony. What time?
6. We can like just hang out for a little bit and then go in once everybody meets up. Like we could meet everybody outside the front.
That sounds good. I'll see you there.
Oh, great! I'll see you tonight.
Antony.
Bye.
So, Sora, you hang up the phone. Is it safe to say you're a little surprised Antony's calling you in this manner? Or...
Yeah, like she was like obviously like really bummed out when they like lost their closeness when they used to hang out together when they were younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's very surprised at how like this event or like the last few days events of like they're suddenly like getting really close, but she is obviously like disguising it with trolling.
Yeah, throwing him off his game a little bit.
Yeah. Maybe she's punishing him for abandoning her for football and boys. Antony.
Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, you've hung up the phone. You're kind of contemplating this a little bit, and yeah, it is now. It's about 10:30.
I wonder what we could get up to before the disco.
Well, I don't know what you two are doing, but Hazel's going to try some, not divination, but she's got a rose quartz pendant for helping her like work out things that she's looking for. She thinks it works. That doesn't mean it actually works.
Right, okay.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Okay, and that's a +2. Okay, all right. So maybe it's a little bit of a placebo thing in terms of... Yeah. Okay, so what exactly are you doing then with the pendulum? You're sort of like a meditation type thing? What's the exact thing you've got kind of in mind as a sort of end goal for what you're trying to do?
So she's got the pendulum over like a town map. And she's at this point she's probably trying to work out where she can find something or someone that could help.
Right, okay.
She was freaked out on her own behalf with the blood, but that her little sister now has blood and this black goop turning up. She's more prepared to try and like proactively find something that she can do because it's now threatening her little sister as well.
Okay.
So it's kind of, she's desperately searching for something positive. She's a bit of a hedge witch, so it could be anything from a type of plant that might be helpful, or a person, or
just a pointing in the right direction sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Are you doing this in your house?
Yes, I'll be in my room.
In your room, okay. Okay, what kind of skill roll would this be? I mean, this is more sort of... This is a tricky one to figure out of, like, what skill are you using? You got a +2 to it, which... You know what? Can you make a heart contact check for me? So normally you'd get 6 on this, but because you're using the pendulum, you get 8d6. Now, this is going to be a trickier check. I'm going to need 2 successes for it.
Okay.
So I 2 successes there. Great. Okay, so... how would you describe what you're actually doing? You're sort of sitting with the map sort of in front of you, kind of holding the pendulum over it, would you say?
Yeah. So I'm holding the pendulum over it and just letting the pendulum kind of point to somewhere on the map.
Okay. So it starts off, you're just kind of holding it. For a little while, you feel like nothing's really happening. And then the pendulum starts to almost sort of... I mean, you're almost surprised that it works, almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It starts kind of almost sort of... For a second, you think it's been caught by like a gust of wind. There's a little bit of a breeze in here. It starts sort of swinging to the left and right, but you hold up you're sort of surprised, you hold up your other hand, there's no breeze. It just sort of starts swinging left and right and then tracing like a wide circle. And then as you're kind of like taken aback by this, you see a drop of red liquid roll down the side of the pendulum to drop onto the map, and then the pendulum stops moving.
Oh wow!
I mean, actually, would you say the map that Hazel's got is the full map that we've got in front of us, or is it more specifically just of the town?
I think it probably covers both of the small towns.
Okay, but maybe not as far north.
Yeah, it'll stop. The north will probably stop somewhere over the accelerator loop.
Okay, but it hasn't got the complex in it.
Yeah, no, it's not that big.
Okay, all right. Okay, the the drop of liquid has fallen right on where the train line crosses the river.
Ooh.
Fairly close to your house, actually. Next to what you know, it's not marked on your map, but what you know to be an army testing station.
Ooh.
But the very presence of the red liquid is kind of creepy to begin with.
Yeah, that's concerning.
As I say, you're very taken aback by the fact that this has even worked as well as it has.
Yeah, this is quite scary, actually. While she hoped that it would work, the fact that it has means that there might actually be something serious. So, okay. Right, we'll just need to... She's going to grab some tissues to blot up the red liquid.
It's just a tiny little drop. I would say, yeah, it's not like a whole... It's not like something... there's not a lot of it, but yeah.
But she wants to wipe it off of the pendulum.
You go to wipe off the pendulum, there's nothing on the pendulum.
Oh, wow. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
Right. She's going to grab her... She's going to grab some of her spell books and her general like plant gathering and hedge witch bits and pieces, and she's going to race out.
So you've got a trowel with you is what you're saying. Never leave the house without a trowel.
Well, she'll have a leaf trowel with her.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking like a huge, you got to be mobile.
Leaf trowels are a different shape. They're longer and skinnier.
Okay, my trowel knowledge is failing me.
Sorry, archaeologist. So she's got a small leaf trowel in with the rest of her kit.
Okay.
She races out to have a look at what's going on there.
Okay. Are you calling any of the others before you do, or you're out on a mission on your own? I'm not. Again, this isn't a leading question. I just want to know what everybody's.
I'm just out on a mission.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I think we'll stick with you for a second then, just because it's fairly close to where your house is. Your sister, as you leave the house, is still sat watching television. Doesn't appear to have moved in the last couple of hours. Fully engrossed in 90s morning kids TV. You sort of head down the road a little bit as if you were heading towards school, but then you turn off onto the sort of crossing sort of main road, which heads sort of further to the west, and it crosses over the railway line in kind of like a sort of wide road bridge. Now, standing on the bridge, as you look sort of down the line, you can see a tall fence on the right-hand side of the line with barbed wire on the top. And you can just about make out the river. Now, you can fairly safely get to it by sort of climbing down and going along the side of the railway, or if you like, there's going to be further. Another way to get to it would be to go much further along this main road and then cutting down to the river and then sort of making your way back on the other side, if that makes sense. Kind of up to you.
Yeah, I'll go down the bank.
Okay.
As slowly as I can, and just kind of watch things and...
Keeping an eye out for trains.
Keeping an eye out for trains, keeping an eye out for, this random red liquid appearing anywhere.
Yeah. Did you bring the map with you at all? Or...
Yes, it'll have got stuffed in with everything else in the bag.
Okay. So, make your way down the embankment. As you come back, you sort of look back under the bridge, and the other side you can see the railway station. There's one or two people stood on the platform, but it's not particularly busy. And nobody notices you going down there. And you're able to kind of pick your way along this sort of the side of the railway line. It's a little bit sort of overgrown in places, but there's room enough to kind of make your way along there without being, in too much in danger of getting hit by a train. I mean, obviously it's, you're putting yourself more in danger of getting hit by a train than if you just stayed at home, but that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes you a couple of minutes. You're sort of picking your way through this undergrowth to kind of get down to the edge of this edge of the river, and you sort of find your way eventually to what you think is probably round about the point on the map that the red liquid landed on. And you find yourself staring at this tall fence, about 10 feet tall, with barbed wire on the top, so it's, getting over it's a bit out of the question with what you've currently got with you. Directly to your left is the river, and about, I'd say, about 40 to 50 feet on the other side of the barbed wire is a kind of low one-story concrete kind of blockhouse building with no windows on it at all, and you can't see a door from the angle that you're at, but it is it looks it's like a fairly solid building. That, looking around, that seems to be the only kind of feature of note in the area of where the red liquid landed on the map. Can I just get a base mind check from you?
Oh.
Okay. Right, fair enough. No successes on that. So yeah, I mean, you're looking around, you can't really spot any kind of sort of notable sort of. There's no neon lights saying "clue" here, pointing at anything. Nothing stands out to you really. The only thing I would say is that as you watch from you're fairly. You're not hidden where you are, but you're kind of off to one side, really. You do, as you're sort of standing kind of looking, you do see a couple of unmarked vans. You can see from your vantage point come into the grounds of this sort of testing station and pull in sort of a little ways away from this concrete kind of blockhouse building, but there's no signs of anybody going into it or anything. But these vans aren't marked as like military vehicles or anything. They're just kind of, they're just vans.
Very interesting. It's probably a good point to cut to someone else.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I've got an idea of what I'll be doing now.
Okay. All right. We'll go with Antony then. So, yes.
Right. Putting the phone down, having just finished talking to Sora, Antony is in a complete daze, kind of realizing what he's just said and organised.
Yep.
And not making it explicitly a date means that Antony has now put himself in the predicament of like, is it a date? Is it not a date? And he's going to spend the next few hours preparing over and over again, like a fool, for every eventuality, thinking about it, stressing, getting really wound up about the fact that he's now got to kind of like judge the mood real quick, and he's going to do his hair up, he's going to get clothes ready, iron shirts, iron his jeans like an idiot, and that's the focus of the next few hours.
Fair play. That's I know that feel. Is it a date? Is it not a date? Who knows?
Oh yeah. Reading the memory banks for that one.
Oh god, yeah, that's it's not really a deep dive.
I'll say the hair up. I fully intend to change that later.
Are you rocking? Yeah, Antony. So you said about you putting your hair up. Are you rocking like the full-on 90s quiff?
Oh yes, 100%. Big spiky quiff. Too much gel. 100%.
Yeah. Have you? Would you say your Antony is an owner of his own roller skates, or?
We mentioned roller skating with Sora before, but no, I don't think it's something he's done for a long time.
Okay, all right. This occurs to you about an hour and a half into your preparations that it's a roller disco and you don't have roller skates.
Okay. That's going to cause a panic then. Or at least now he's going to start thinking about excuses for not skating. And he kind of considers the fact that he went to practice. Maybe he twisted his ankle. Could he wangle it that way? Maybe he can get some sympathy. But then that gets him thinking about the awkwardness of getting sympathy, and maybe and he's just going round and round in circles. It's getting worse.
Yeah. So would you say that he falls? He's which way is he leaning on that decision? Then is he going to have a last-minute scramble to get skates, or is he going to have a scramble to find an excuse that he's the only one at a roller disco without roller skates?
I was thinking that you would have them there to rent, but if this is at the leisure centre, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of, because there's a couple of different ways that went, because there was in the area there it used to be. I mean, I'm thinking of the ice skating place, but more in that kind of vein of like you turn up and they've got skates. There's that way, but the roller discos that I went to, that's a weird sentence. Roller discos that I went to were very much bring your own.
Okay.
But that might have been the exception rather than the rule. Though it just seemed to be that was the case. So that's kind of how I've been.
Experience will lean towards your knowledge.
Well, no, I mean that's just kind of how I've been picturing it. Is that people turn up for their roller.
Oh, I've got a contingency for this. So, thinking about the fact that he needs roller skates, then Antony is going to go and raid any kind of savings he's accumulated from doing his paper round.
Yeah, you say you've got a full piggy bank.
Like a
classic.
He's been pretty fastidious.
Yeah.
His parents don't really let him do much, so he's not had much to spend his money on. He kind of saves up for like maybe the occasional video game or something. But he's got enough. There's going to have to be a sacrifice. What would be the game that was around that period?
Oh, give me a sec.
He's saving up for Sonic 3. Why
Sonic 3? Okay. Yeah, that's been out for a little bit. He still hasn't got it. Yeah. Okay.
So he's looking at his piggy bank and he's considering the fact that Sonic 3 has been on his mind for a while, but he thinks about how little time he's got for that and roller disco, and then very quickly the piggy bank is broken.
Yeah.
And it's stops.
Mega Drive games will live forever. Roller skates are for today.
Yeah, got to live in the moment.
Yeah.
He's already done it once today. His head is just swimming. He's just like, I'm just going to keep riding this train.
So feeling maybe like things are still spiraling a little bit out of his control, just in a different direction, would you say?
He's trying to steer back onto it. He's convincing himself that he's chosen all of these things and that he knows what he's doing. But in every fifth second, there's the thought of, what the fuck am I doing?
Fair enough. we could sort of say, we've already said you spent a couple of hours doing this and it was an hour and a half in that you realised you had no skates. And after some brief deliberations, you decide piggy bank's coming out. You're going up to Priory Sports to see what their skate selection is. But I think this would be a point to cut to Sora then. So, Sora, would you say you're around about this time is probably when your mum is coming home from her trip? Would you say you are still at home?
I wonder if I'd hear my mum coming through the door, I'd immediately bolt upstairs to go get dressed and just generally just hide from her.
Okay.
And get on with some schoolwork maybe. Where's Hazel then?
So Hazel's gone off.
Railway station.
She's kind of just hanging out. At this point, Hazel is weirdly stood on like the side of the railway line next to a bridge, looking into looking through a fence. Yeah,
I don't think I'd be meta game that and go and find her, but
yeah, good luck on that one.
I think I'll just I'll go upstairs and shower, dressed, and start getting on with some schoolwork and just hide in my room for my mum.
Yeah,
to avoid any unnecessary conversation.
Okay, all right. Would you say you head upstairs as your mum's coming in, or you hear her come in as you're already upstairs doing stuff?
As soon as I hear her keys in the door, I go run upstairs.
All right. Yeah. This is a super depressing episode for like Sora's home life.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I think that Antony's is worse.
It's pretty rough.
Hazel's is bad too.
Yeah, it's pretty rough for
just
everyone,
me.
really. But
It's because I don't want to talk to my mum.
yeah, I know. I think it's just the way it's come around. Okay. So
nobody's doing well with their families, in fairness. Hazel doesn't get along that well with her sisters, so yeah.
Blood in her house, and her mum doesn't care.
They're teenage sisters. Of course they don't get on. They're like 12 and 15. If they did get on, I'd be a lot more freaked out.
Okay. So Sora, you're upstairs for a little bit. You're kind of, you've showered and ready, and you're kind of getting on with some schoolwork. And your mum calls from the bottom of the stairs. Sora, there's a boy here to see you.
Oh no. Sora flinches in her desk chair, just and she opens the door and she's like, "What boy?"
You can hear some mumbling. Kev? His name's Kev?
Oh, not Kev. Chucks her pen down and stomps down the stairs and pushes past her mum to go talk to him outside.
Okay. Kev's looking a bit he's sort of standing, he's like, oh, kind of, as he sees you coming down the stairs, he sort of waves his hand, and he looks a little bit sort of taken aback as you kind of push past your mum. Hi, Sora. I was just passing. I wanted to see if you're still going to the roller disco tonight.
Sora raises her eyebrows and crosses her arms. Yeah, I'm going.
Are you going with anybody?
Sora pauses for a minute and really doesn't know the answer to that question. Looks back at him, sensing he's going to continue to ask her out on a date, so she just says, "Yeah, I'm going with someone. Are you?"
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm going with someone. Yeah.
Who are you going with then? Who are you going with?
Lisa.
Okay.
From third period maths.
Yeah, she's all right. So what are you doing here then? You coming to gloat about your date?
No, I just wanted to see if you were still coming. That's all. It should be a fun evening, and I better get going.
Sora leans forward, kind of looking around down the street. She's like, "Kev, you live quite far from here."
Yeah. No, I was in town. I was just getting some stuff, and he sort of holds up a shopping bag, and there's you can hear some cans rattling inside it. Not like beer cans, but
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. He's got some. It's you can see through the sort of quite thin plastic bag. There's he's got a couple of Coke cans in there and some licorice sticks and stuff, and yeah.
So as he goes to leave, Sora's going to be like, "All right then, see you tonight." And then just before he's properly gone from the driveway, she'll because I don't know why Sora's so horrible. she'll just be like, "Hey, Kev.
Hey.
I really like your skateboard moves."
Oh yeah, I've been practicing doing flips and stuff. I can. Do you want to see some more moves?
Nah, I gotta go. I'll see you later. And then she just walks back into the house.
Okay. You sort of as you close the door, you can see he's still sort of standing there.
Why am I so horrible?
Yeah. So I couldn't. So you go inside, and your mum is sort of looking a little bit sort of quizzically at you. Just, who was that then?
Idiot from school.
Oh yeah. It's not your boyfriend, is it? You get the feeling she's just trying to connect with you in any kind of way.
So she stops on the stairs and looks down at her quite icy cold, and she's like, "Not him," and then stomps up the stairs and then slams the door.
Fair enough.
I feel so sorry for Sora's mum.
Oh my god! You're on my side.
What did she do to her?
What did she do to you?
I don't know. Just making it out.
Okay.
I just don't know, guys.
Is it that kind of relationship where she screamed, "I hate you for having me" at some point?
I didn't ask to be born.
Yeah, it's that level.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Antony, you walk into Prairie Sports, which is a sort of fairly new kind of general kind of sporting goods store in the middle of the high street. And there's a guy in kind of like a referee outfit, sort of behind the desk, who kind of gives you a kind of nod as you walk in, and there's like some quite sort of upbeat 90s techno playing over the speakers, maybe just a little bit too loudly as you walk in, and you feel very much at home in here, surrounded by all this sporting equipment.
Big smile on the face then, and walking straight up to the guy, ask him, you're right, mate, I'm looking for a pair of roller skates. I'm going to the roller disco in town, like...
Right on, man. Yeah, you recognise him as a guy who was maybe 2 years above you at school. You can't remember his name, but like he clearly hasn't gone far. And
oh my god, sorry. Oh, so sick fun, dude.
He's like, "Oh, roller disco, man, cool. Yeah, no, we just got in. We got in some of those new inline ones. Pretty radical."
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think I've seen some of that on TV.
Do you want to try him on?
Yeah, cool.
It kind of leads you to one corner where there's a small display of like kind of skateboard stuff, and next to it there's quite a few different types of like regular kind of like 4-wheel, the block, I can't remember the name, the non-inline roller skates, sort of thing, classic style. Then next to it are some new kind of like inline rollerblades with that are like black, but with like lightning bolts on the side. They look pretty sweet.
Taken by those immediately then. Seeing them, he turns to the guy and says, "Oh, those look pretty cool. How much are those?"
That's a great question, man. One that can only be answered by my scanning gun. Oh, those are $39.99, my man.
I assume that's the right amount of money there. I think...
Well, you tell me, how much is Antony squirreled away over the previous few months?
Oh, how friendly am I going to be to him? That's really the question that you're asking here. Does he get the cool rollerblades? Yeah, sod it. He's as I said, he's saved up.
Yeah.
He went further than saving up for Sonic 3. He saved up for Sonic 3 and Knuckles as well.
Oh, he's getting the full hog.
He was getting all of it at the same time. So he could definitely afford this. And on that note, he kind of reaches into his pocket excitedly, pulls out the cash, and goes, "I want those."
All right. Do you want a bag for those?
No, I think I should probably give him in fact, no, give me a bag for my shoes, because I think I'm going to give him a try.
Wearing them out. I dig it. Okay. Well, he gives you a bag, you put your shoes in, and then you strap yourself into these lightning bolt adorned bad boys. And can I get... So you pay for them, they're yours. That's definitely the case. Can I get a body move check to see how well you make your way home? Or wherever you're going next, actually. How well... Actually, is there a balance one? No, body move would be the check to make. Well, you got 2 successes there, so yeah, okay. So you're not... It's been a few years since you've used roller skates of any kind, but you feel at home in these, it's a little bit wobbly to start off with, but then you find your balance and you're off and rolling and you feel pretty radical.
Oh, totally. Feeling confident. Oh, how in fact, I'm going to test luck. So I'm going to try and go home in these.
Okay.
And in doing this, I'm going to have to jump curbs here and there.
You sure are.
It's up to you how far that goes.
Okay, well, you got 2 successes there. I think can I get another body move check? I think this one will be difficulty 2, so you're going to need 2 successes to really look like the king. But I think if you get any successes, you're not going to fall over, if that makes sense. Okay, well, that's no successes. So maybe feeling a bit overconfident. You're just, so you get out of the store. You're fine on that first stretch. You're like, yeah, I got this. This is going to be cool. You kind of round the bend, sort of not quite on the home straight, but like as you're kind of heading back in the direction of your house. Part of it, there's like a couple of small bridges going over like a fork in the river. And as you're coming down the first one, it's like a little bit steeper than you anticipated. You just kind of lose control, and there's a couple of like older ladies walking towards you up the pavement, and you're just kind of giving it the whole like move, and you end up kind of knocking into a car that's parked on the side of the road and just kind of steadying yourself on it, sort of, and you do feel like a bit of an idiot.
Do I get scolded by the old ladies?
Well, God, no, I've got to do an old lady voice. You definitely get some sort of admonishing look.
I wanted to test you there.
I could throw me under the bus there.
I'm terrible.
Shame on you, young man, scaring a couple of ladies like this. Shame on you. One of them hits you with their handbag.
Oh, I'm sorry. And he kind of gathers himself and scoots off.
Skeets away.
Not as fast as he was going.
Okay.
With the amount of shame in his stance.
Yeah. So, at around the same time, while Antony is making his way awkwardly back to his house on his new rollerblades, across town, Mr. Brewster is walking along a residential street. It's not that quiet. There's a couple of people in their front gardens doing some gardening. And he stops in front of a semi-detached house, approaching the door, pausing briefly before knocking. He's not waiting long before the door is answered by a young woman in her sort of late 20s, who, if the three of you were there, would recognise as Mrs. Gray, the maths teacher. Oh, hi, Colin. What can I do for you? You're right there, Sally. Sorry to bother you on a weekend like this, but that's something I wanted to talk to you about, and I thought it would be best to ask you about it in person rather than over the phone. Oh yeah, what's up? Well, it's a bit of an odd one, really, but as you know, I have the football practice on Saturday mornings. I have one of my boys come to me, though, and seemed a bit distressed, really. As you know, do you remember, earlier on in the week, you and some of the other teachers and, well, about half the school seemed to be off for the day. A little bit odd, really, but yeah, he seemed to think something strange was going on. I just wanted to ask you what happened with you, whether you were all right, whether you could shed some light on it. Everybody seems to be a bit tight-lipped. She kind of looks at him for a second, without answering, or saying, "Well, I just was feeling a little under the weather. Why don't you come in and have a cup of tea? We'll talk through everything. Hopefully I can put your mind at rest." "Oh, yeah, all right, okay." She holds the door open and he heads inside the house. As he passes her, she makes eye contact with her neighbour, the aforementioned Mr. Butler, the milkman, who's watering the flowers in his garden across the road. Just for a moment, each of their expressions goes completely blank, and to an observer, if there were one, it would seem as if all colour was drained from their eyes, swimming instead to an inky blackness, before returning to their usual state. The pair share a brief nod, and Mrs. Gray closes the door to her house, with Mr. Brewster inside. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode. We'll be back as usual in 2 weeks' time on Thursday the 24th of October with the next chapter of our Things from the Flood story, continuing where we left off today. So we hope you'll all tune back in for that. In the meantime, you can get in contact with us on Twitter and Facebook, both of which we're at Pretend With Dice. You can also email us at pretendingwithdice@outlook.com. If you're an iTunes or Apple Podcast user, it'd be really great if you could leave us a rating and review. It all helps us to find new listeners, and we'd really love to hear what you think of the podcast. So for now, that's our show. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.